Welcome to the Lambeth Made Podcast. I'm Karima.
I'm Rebecca.
And today we're here with Nathaniel.
Okay, yeah, but I also go by the name of Mr. Lisp.
Nathaniel, aka Mr. Lisp. Yeah. Welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well,
thank you for having me.
And of course, we always have to start off the fact that our guests are from Lambeth. So what does Lambeth mean to you?
Well, everything. I'm born and raised in Lambeth, so that's all I really know.
What's one thing that I guess has shaped you growing up in Lambeth?
The biggest thing I would say was a local youth club I used to go to. I learned to do loads of things, from cooking, camping, running little youth groups, DJing, football, which is one of my biggest talents. And just engaging with people, like-minded people my age. It kept me out of trouble. That's a great place. Like all my friends from school used to go there. So it was like our little central place where we all hub and meet and
So would you say that's like one of like your memories that you have of Lambeth?
That's one of many. Like I said, I'm born and raised in Lambeth, so like all my houses I've been to, always been in Lambeth. I'm now living independently in Lambeth myself. Like it's just Lambeth's just been my place, man.
So one of the things that we have to get into, the main theme that we want to talk about is talking about disability and also speech impediment, because you said you are known as well as Mr. Lisp. So how did that name come about?
I gave myself that name. So on the basis I have a lisp, which is a speech impediment, so I can't pronounce S's very well. Sometimes they come out crystal clear, sometimes it's... So yeah. Growing up with it, it was like a challenge, especially like secondary school, where going through primary school didn't actually know I sounded different to anybody else. Then going into like secondary, where it was like highly multi-diverse, where there were people coming from all different walks of life, where primary was like literally central around people in my area. Secondary school, people were travelling from, to in Wandsworth, etc. These areas to come to school, so we met different people, and then they actually highlighted that I don't sound like everyone else. And it first started when a group of girls would come up to me and say, "Oh, Nathaniel, say sausages." So I would say sausages, and then they would giggle and laugh, say, "Oh, that's cute." And I was thinking, "Wow, is this easy to get girls?" Like, whoa, but not realising that they were actually mocking me in the same aspect of because I couldn't say the S's, until it started going on and on and on and on. And then it was just like, no, I'm actually becoming a laughing stock. And then it kind of just made me feel like, no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to say a word, I just want to keep myself to myself and internally just deal with everything. Faked it a lot as well. So I was appeared to be confident to people.
Yeah.
But internally, I was being battered and bruised.
Okay, I have one question. And what enabled your growth to see that your speech impediment is not a bad thing?
Good question. Personally, I think lockdown had the opportunity to just really sit down and just look at the world, and the world was like chaotic. It was very chaotic, and it was like I saw loads of people just doing what they wanted to do. It was like a bit of a rebellious stage. So I thought to myself, it's like, why am I not doing what I want to do? And then I had to have a literal heart-to-heart with myself and really think about what is stopping me from really getting to where I really want to be, and why am I allowing something that I can't change? Well, I can change, because I could have gone to speech and language therapy to work on it, which I didn't do, which was probably just something that my parents should have got into. But growing up back then, it just wasn't seen as anything. So it's something I could change, but I have never changed it. So if I never changed it, I can't complain about the situation. So it's either accept it, move on, dwell in it, and just be in the shadows all my life. And it's like, well, what's the point of being in the shadows?
Yeah.
And it's like, I know many people with different disabilities and illnesses and stuff. stuff, and it just made me realise that if they're doing it, why am I not? I've seen people on TV and cameras, maybe not be able to articulate themselves like myself, but they're still delivering. And they're empowering other people, because it empowered myself. And it's like, if I've got a story to tell, why am I not telling my story as well?
Yeah.
So in that time, I used to write spoken word, put everything down in spoken word. I wouldn't share it, wouldn't go to open mics, wouldn't do anything with it. Just have books and books at home with all my feelings. It became like me journaling, doing like my day-to-day diary kind of thing. But it just had loads of emotions and feelings and how I needed to transition and how I wanted to do, but I never did it. And what I realised was many people didn't even know I had a Lisp. They just thought, that's just me, isn't it? Like, so it's not until I told them, I have a Lisp. They're like, I can actually hear it now. But to me, it's magnified. So where you may not hear it or can hear it, I just feel like the world can hear it. And it just made me feel so suppressed. Like I said, I used to fake it a lot. Like when I was at work, I can talk, but it took me a while to motivate myself to get to that stage. And then, like if I had a meeting or something, and I had to even introduce my name, I knew everybody in the team, but just to being able to introduce my name, I had to literally sit down, go into myself, and really think about what I'm going to say, and then try and talk slowly so that it kind of came across how I wanted it to sound. But to be fair, it was just a process that I was really wasting my time because I wasn't being me. And I got put to do jobs and stuff because they thought, you're confident, you can talk. And it's more pressure I was putting on myself because I was faking it. I was literally living a life of faking. And that's when, during lockdown, like I just said, no more, like, let me accept this. And that's where I gave myself Mr. Lisp, and I thought, address the elephant in the room, innit? When you hear that, Mr. Lisp, you already know I have a Lisp.
So that name came during the
lockdown.
pandemic?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I
So
didn't
the name,
know that.
So the whole process of what happened was, partner, my sister, was always telling me, you do so much writing and your work so talented, get it out there. And I was like, I'll write as a ghostwriter or something, and no one has to know, someone else can read out my stuff.
Yeah.
And then my sister, my partner was just like, no, like, you've got a voice, you're blessed, your voice is unique, it needs to be heard. And then I was like, yeah. During lockdown, I kind of explored it, got myself like a home mixing kit, and I was like, I don't sound like the other people, why not? Tried auto-tune it, and I was like, I still don't sound like the other people.
That's because you're different.
And that's when it was, and that's when it clicked. I was like, no, but I'm different. And that's where I fit in. I'm me.
I love the fact
I
that you
started
said
entering
that.
competitions, and I was with Kensington and Chelsea, which I've been there for the last 3 years, at their poetry weeks, and have my work displayed, and then having to perform poetry. It's like, threw me to a whole different dimension, because it was like, I'm out of my comfort zone now. And it's either I have to swim or I'm going to sink. During lockdown, that's when I decided to write a book. And the book was titled Recognition. And the book's based around us teaching individuals to truly acknowledge who they are. And, the word recognition, actually, let me throw it back to you guys. What does recognition mean to you two?
Recognition. Yeah, I love the fact that you named your book that as well. For me, like, recognition, I feel like the main thing that comes to me from that word is that you're recognizing who you are. Like, if you're looking at it from like an inner...
Internally.
Yeah, internally. And then if it was like outside, then it was like, for me, it would be like recognition, like someone recognizing you for the work that you do or for your talent.
I couldn't have said it better. You literally took the words out of my mouth.
But similar to yourself, that's what it means to me. But for me, recognition means so much because it's like a feeling that I feel. So it's like, don't know when you've ever seen someone and you're trying to remember what their name is. And it's jarring you for however long because you just don't know their name. And then when it clicks and you remember, there's like a moment where you can exhale and you feel good. That's the moment I felt when I recognised and it all clicked who I am. And that's where the title Recognition came from. And it was about acknowledging who I truly am, not who people are telling me I am.
Yeah, because even now just hearing your personal story and just going back to your secondary school experience is like sometimes I don't really want to say what's wrong with you because I feel like we're all different and that's completely fine. But like you would think there's nothing wrong with you until someone points that out. Because like you said, in primary school, like it was totally fine, but secondary school is like anyone that has been there knows it's a whole different ball game. Like people are very like it can be very cutthroat. Like you do develop a tough skin because people
100%.
can be so wild like with what they say. And I guess like even the fact that you thought the girls, for example, were being, you know, nice and jokey, and then really you find out like what was actually going on behind your back sort of thing, and like how it's shaped you to who you are now, but like now you're like owning it. And then even talking about people, I guess maybe in a public eye that do have a similar speech impediment, or if they have a list, like Mr. Jonathan Ross for me is like the one that sticks out for me because he nicknames himself Wassy, and I feel like that's your Mr. Lift's version of that, and it's just
100%.
owning it. And I like the fact that you called it a superpower as well. There's nothing wrong with being different.
No,
you know?
that's
I
what
don't
it's
think
all about.
anyone's normal anyway. Like,
No,
what
but
is normal?
when you break it down, what's normal?
Anyway.
There's not such thing as normal.
Yeah.
Because normal would be if we were all produced, we were mass produced. That's a normal batch. Everyone's thinking the exact same way and moving the exact same way. We were all created differently. You know, for example, we could have twins, identical twins, but they're not the same.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a twin.
Oh, wow.
Definitely
Anytime
not
you
the same.
say that, it always throws
We
me
are
off.
not the same. We are not the same.
We're all individual. We've got our own thought process, our minds, our goals, our aspirations, our dreams. It's all very different.
Yeah.
And a lot of times is, you know, we will find, especially for myself, like going through puberty and that kind of age of my adolescence, I was trying to conform and be like my friends and, you know, doing what they're doing. And it's like, no, I'm not, that's not what I'm, like, I gravitate towards.
Definitely.
Yeah, I wanted to play football and stuff, you know, where they may wanted to go raving, bunk school and do that. That's not me, and I couldn't do that anyway because my parents would have killed me. My parents would have killed me, so I weren't even going to consider doing that. But I know a lot of people that were classed as friends at the time that did follow that path to fit into that kind of social group. And even going into adults, we see a lot of us that are just conforming, but we don't understand why. Because we don't have recognition in ourselves. We don't know who we truly are. That was my main purpose of writing a book for
Can
people.
I ask you one question? Do you think that the fact that in lockdown we was mainly alone, do you think that's what helps you to like kind of get inside your head and like?
I don't think it was being alone. I think it was more the time, because prior to doing the writing and doing a bit of mentoring, I'm a gas engineer, so I'm constantly at work. So to be fair, I don't have time to think about myself. I'm just on the hamster wheel going round and round and round. It's like a rat race that I'm going through, but I've got no exit. So when you're having lockdown, it gave me that time to think about really where do I want to go, where do I want to be, what do I want to leave for my children like as a legacy, and you know, am I being the person that I want my children to grow up and aspire to be as a role model? Do I want to be a role model for, you know, my neighbours, my cousins, the peers, other members of like even that in Lambeth? And that's what I had to really think about. And it's like, if I'm not being the true me, I can't expect somebody else to be the true them. So I've got to lead by example. So that's what I kind of took from that, having that bit of time. And it was that time to sit down and really think about A, B, C, and D, and where I want to go, how I'm going to do it, and how I have to process stuff, and how I have to open up some scars and wounds and address them. Because I had to go back and address a lot of stuff from childhood and stuff to move forward. And once I fully processed it, I understood a lot of stuff, and I realised that I had to take accountability because a lot of the things were my own fault. A lot of stuff was my own fault, and I had to realise that, you know what, I allowed that to happen. I allowed someone to manipulate me to that. I allowed that to happen. Now that I can own it, I'm able to just process it, move on, and be in a position to teach or tell somebody else.
I love that.
Main tip I would say is make time for yourself. Make time for yourself and know who you are. Know what you want and know what you're doing it, because every action has a reaction. So that's the main thing. Effort, practice. Whatever you want to do takes effort and practice. You're just not gonna, even if you're naturally gifted at something, but if you don't practice with it, you're just always going to be mediocre. Or you're not going to exceed to the point where you need to be at, could be at.
Yeah.
And you know that the way of saying is that hard work pays more than talent that doesn't work hard. So that would be like one of the main things. But it's again just knowing who you are, spending time to know who you are, know what you want. And sometimes in life we don't exactly know what we want, but if we know who we are, we can follow the path a lot easier than not having a direction or a goal or a dream. And you have to have a dream, because like I said, I had a dream which I'm now just starting to pursue. And my dream was always to do mentoring and spoken word, and do workshops and do mentoring via spoken word. And just getting individuals to realise that we're all individuals.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong. And you know, you can't fail. There's no such thing as failing in my book, because it's always a lesson learned. It's always a lesson learned to improve yourself for the future. Because if you're perfect at everything straight away, you're never going to improve, because you don't feel you need to. But if you fail, you can then analyse and say, all right, that didn't work well, that worked well. Let me take this, let me do that, and then next time move forward.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like even a lesson learned is never too late.
Never.
Because you did this in adulthood, and I feel like society kind of makes it seem you have to be young, for example, to like follow your dreams or follow your passions. But like it was literally in adulthood, you gained your confidence, and then you start to do spoken word, and you're an author now, like a self-published author. Like that's amazing.
Thank you. That's been a journey in itself, which probably the most beautiful journey I've ever done so far to life, other than my children. But going through it and learning the process, learning about myself, learning the impact that I can have to others. And I have had it with others from like the feedback and reviews and stuff that I've had. It's been phenomenal.
We actually have a question as well.
Oh, wow.
A live question from someone in the studio. So Sasha.
Okay. Hi there, Sasha.
Yes, I was just going to add, so how did you become self-published? Like, how does one become self-published?
Okay. Good question. There's many avenues. Probably the most popular, most people know about would be the Amazon KDP, where you can self-publish yourself on Amazon. That's the actual avenue that I went down. It can go deeper than that, because you got stuff like the ISBN numbers, where you can then take your book to other publishers. If you don't buy the ISBN, which you can do it for all, you can do the whole publishing process for free, but then you get limitations with everything. So it is about doing research and understanding.
You know your spoken word. What kind of topics do you delve into that?
It ranges on anything and anything. Whatever, you know, someone may commission me to write a piece on food, for example. I'll write something on food. Personally, for me, I like to have a bit of humour, but have a moral. I always feel like there's got to be a moral to what you're doing. And I try to have some sort of encouragement, but I like to leave food for thought. So you need to think about something to process it, to develop, to go forward. So I don't want to just do a spoken word that just hits you. I want you to think about it when I've gone. So that's what I try to do. But you know, if we've got time, I'll do a piece later or something for yourself.
Yeah.
How, if someone wanted to explore the route of spoken word, what advice would you give them?
Write. Just write. And there's not, many people think there's a format to writing. For myself, there's not a format. You write, and then you can then start picking words and stuff after. Doesn't have to rhyme, but people feel like spoken word or poetry has to rhyme. It doesn't. It's just the way how you deliver stuff, what your intention is, and the purpose that you're writing it for. So for different settings, different environments, you're going to have to change your flow, how it's done, how the impact you want to lead. But the main first thing is just write and get inspiration from, you know, people that you may enjoy listening to, but be individual and have your own identity. That's the main thing. Have your own identity.
Yeah, I
So
really
that
like
when
that.
someone reads something of yours, hears something of yours, they know, boom, I
This
know that
is
is already.
who,
Yeah.
this is who they are.
So how would you encourage someone to like figure out their identity?
It's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, it's not something you can really encourage. You can do it by, icebreakers and workshop techniques and stuff. But I practice a lot of cognitive behavior therapy. So it's more about getting individuals to think about their mindset, think about, loads of positive affirmations, and if you think positively, positive outcomes will come. And your mindset, if you change your mindset, you can change the outcome of your life. That's what I kind of work on, and that's what I believe. So in the terms of finding your identity, it's more finding your purpose and who you believe you are as an individual. Some people may be really interested in cats, but may not want to show it in front of their friends because they don't want to be teased, bullied, or whatever. But when you found a purpose that you enjoy and something you enjoy doing, just own it.
Yeah, find your tribe, find your community. If your friends are not interested in cats and you are, find a community that are more like-minded.
Like-minded, 100%.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. And sometimes you might not find people like-minded, but there's nothing wrong with it. Just if you like it, just do what you enjoy. Like I say, you have one life. The saying is,
for real, you have one life to live.
Yeah.
So do it how you want to.
Exactly.
Do you feel like all your life experiences have led to you writing your book, Recognition?
100%. Like, throughout my book, there's loads of my life experiences in there, from the loss of my children to going through secondary school to having heart-to-heart with my own self to realise what am I doing, to like even my own discipline procedures I had to go through to actually write the book. Because again, having social media, came off social media, put it onto a whole separate phone, had to be very rigid, very, very rigid. And a lot of people didn't understand my process. A lot of people won't understand your process when you're going through stuff.
Yeah.
Because they look at you like, oh, why are you going like that? You're kind of moving a bit funny now. But it's not that I was moving funny, it's I had a goal and I had to achieve something.
Yeah.
And once I got into that zone, no one and nothing could stop me. I had to achieve it. So it meant that I wasn't going raving, wasn't on the phone 24/7. I wasn't seeing the latest stuff that was on social media. Like that wasn't my forte.
Yeah, you totally zoned out.
I zoned out, and to be fair, it was great because it just made me get into myself even more.
Yeah.
And it made me realise that if you put your mind to something, you can definitely achieve it.
Yeah.
You just got a lot of background noise from social media, from friends, from relatives, parents, everything. Everyone gets involved in some way. And then, what I did, one of the topics in the book, I've got a poem called The Crabs and the Ants. And it is a bit based on the crabs in the bucket energy, the ants, where I look at it as the crabs can be your friends, family members, that they're happy when you're at a certain level, but as soon as you're trying to rise, they use the claws and they pinch to keep you on the same in the same bucket. No one wants you to come out. No one wants to escape. If they can't escape, no one else is escaping.
Yeah.
And if you look deep into yourself, you're going to have friends and family members that are just like that.
That
and
is
then
so true.
when you look at the ants are, if you see an ant and then you see loads of them, and you see them lifting like a leaf and they're moving it around, they're working as a team. And it's like a all for one for all kind of thing. If we're getting this leaf, all of us are getting this leaf and we're doing it together. And it's that's how I work. I work with ants. Like if I'm winning, I want everybody around me to be winning.
I love that. Like, let's be ants. Let's not be crabs.
Exactly.
No, I really like that. And also, like, what you said in the past about, forging your own path and being yourself because society will tell you need to be a particular way. Like, how do you even navigate that, like, personally for you? And what advice would you give someone, like, listening in to be themselves when society is telling them you need to conform to be a certain type of way?
I think when you've identified your purpose and you've identified who you are as an individual, it becomes very easy to navigate. Because you just see, it's like you just see a path and you realise that background noises and stuff, it's not going to get you to where you need to get to. So i.e. like social media. I used to have personal social media and stuff. I no longer use my personal social media, just business social media, because I know that there's so many pockets in social media that will get me back into old routines. And it's very easy to revert back than to continue moving forward, because we're creatures of habit. So, you know, I've been, you know, lacking low self-esteem and confidence probably 30 plus years. So that's longer than I've been going on this journey of the confidence. So, you know, if something knocks my confidence, I'm easily going to run back to what I know more than keep fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm just teaching myself and developing and trying to teach others, is that, you know what, sometimes you just have to avoid certain things that's going to hinder you from your goal, your journey. Obviously, you can't stop everything, but as you're doing it, you're building up resilience within yourself, and your confidence is building, and just your goal and your like the determination of where you want to go. So you will navigate.
Well, you know, you spoke as well with your disability. You know how you asked me, like, I was surprised because you've come across a very confident person.
Yeah.
So, like, what also helped you gain your confidence?
Sharing is caring.
So I feel like, obviously, as I said, my mum raised me to be like a very confident girl. Obviously, there have been people around me that try to pull me down, try to like say that my disability like is a problem, and I just feel like I ignored them. And I feel like in the pandemic, went through some things, and then I feel like music has always been my therapy.
Do you do music?
I mean, I kind of started doing music,
Okay.
but I feel like I started listening to music, started watching interviews about people, and you know, I don't know, somehow I feel like there's certain artists out there that's actually helped me grow. They don't even realize it, but I even wrote about it in my journal. I was like, yeah, I don't want to give them the credit, but just listening to their music and thinking, like, connecting dots in their life made me look at my life, and I started collecting like lessons from their life, and like, you know,
very important, because like you start to realize is that you're not alone. There's a lot of people that are going through similar stuff, stuff that you can relate to.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, you sound like you've got a story to tell, innit? Like you've definitely got a story. Like, we all have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And if you're like you said, you're already doing music, like, you know, same way someone's touched you, you can touch somebody else as well.
Yeah.
And if you only touch one person, it makes a big difference, regardless.
Definitely.
So where can people purchase your book, Recognition?
Mainly, I think the best place would be on Amazon. Yeah, on Amazon. So it's under Recognition by Mr. Lisp.
Yeah.
That'd be the best place. So if you see me in person, then you can get a copy for myself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have like a motto that you go by?
Not really a motto.
Or like a life lesson that you want to share to the audience so that can help them in some way?
Mainly just, I would say, get to know yourself. Because yourself is your best friend. Yeah. Through your darkest moments, your happiest moments, yourself is the only person you can actually count on and will always be there. And you can't run from yourself. Like I said, there's lots of times I've gone through stuff and I thought friends would be there to support me. Like I was there for them. And when I picked up that phone, the phone rang out. And it's rang out. And it's rang out. And then I'm just left feeling, it made me feel worse, yeah? Because I felt like I had no one to rely on. So I realised that rely on yourself first, everything else becomes second.
Okay. No, that's amazing.
And like, what you spread a lot of gems in this episode. Thank you. Very insightful.
And inspiring as well.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. It's been amazing having you on the podcast as well. You need to come back again.
Definitely.
And where can people find you?
Mainly on TikTok and Instagram at official Mr. Lisp. You can find me on my website at www.mrlisp.com. And actually, you've got a copy of the book. There's a copy of the book.
I love that.
Yeah. And I've chosen obviously the colours black and white, and that's the yin and the yang, and that's about balance.
Okay, well, thank you again for joining us. So I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Karima.
I'm Mr. Lisp.
Yeah, so join us back again, and we look forward to having our next guest on.